Game day across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. It's football 24/7 with NFL insider John McMullen, who is live from Mile High Stadium in Denver. Eagles and Broncos this afternoon. We're all presented by Stateside Vodka. Go to statesidevodka.com. Use that keyword JAKIB. Get 15% off of the very, very popular Stateside Vodka soda. Johnny Mac made the flight out to Denver. Johnny Mac, did you leave a little bit later than normal to adjust to the change in time zone, or what? What's that all about?
It's for once I actually beat the Eagles out to the visiting venue. The Eagles, because of the elevation, obviously. You mentioned Mile High. It's in Power Field at Mile High now, 5,280 feet. The Broncos always play that up. They have the elevation advantage. There's a sign outside the visiting locker room that says altitude sickness is real. They try to creep that into the head of the opposing team. They've been doing it for years. And it is real, but the Eagles believe that the later you come out, the better. In other words, they only want their players here for 24 hours. They think it doesn't kick in until after that. So we'll see. There's been a lot of studies on this kind of stuff, and that's what the Eagles kind of landed on. I don't know if it'll matter either way, but it is something you do have to deal with, in the fact that, people aren't used to playing 5,280 feet above sea level, except the Broncos, who have to do it all the time.
Well, I don't want to make too much about of the story and get too lost in this our pregame conversation. I will say Dan Sileo from the National Football Show was on the Countdown to Kickoff show on Thursday night, and he talked about the players sucking air in warm-ups, if they're not used to that altitude adjustment.
Yeah, I was wondering, because, you can't get close to the stadium on game day. So my Uber driver dropped me off about 3 blocks away. I was wondering if I was going to be winded by the time I got to the stadium, but I was able to make it. I do think you're going to see the oxygen out a little bit more than normal if somebody's running, 40, 50 yards. And that's something they also put on the screen here and try to get their fans riled up. But, I think the bigger part of this game today is the wind. It's windy here. I think it's 24 miles per hour. They just flashed up on the scoreboard. So I think that might have a bigger impact on the game.
John McMullen checking in live from Denver as the Eagles get ready to take on the Broncos. John, what are a couple of the dynamics that you will watch or key in on today as you get ready to start to watch this game unfold in front of you?
Well, the Broncos are very banged up. They're down 3 starting offensive linemen, both starting tackles. Garrett Bolles, Bobby Massey are not going to play. They lost one of their guards, and rookie Quinn Miners is going to start. So you talk about 60% of your offensive line. This is a game where the embattled Eagles defensive line has to show up and put a good performance together. And then I look at the Eagles offense, and they kind of said they found this formula. And, that's running the football. That's shifting from that RPO, read option, heavy stuff we saw early in the season to more of the play action, run the football from under center. They're going to continue that. But remember, the last 3 teams, when they've had success, Las Vegas, Detroit, LA Chargers, all very, very poor defending the run. The Broncos are top 10, number 6 overall. So it's going to be interesting. The Eagles are going to try to establish the run, but how long will Nick Sirianni stick to it, especially if they get behind in this game? That, to me, is probably the most interesting storyline of the game.
Johnny Mack, every week the Eagle opponent seems to have another good buddy of Devontae Smith on the roster. Is Patrick Surtain going to play today? And we may have lost John McMullen, who is out at Mile High Stadium. Johnny Mack, we have you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what happened there, but I'm back.
That's that thin air, Johnny Mack. You evaporated into the thin air. I don't know where you disappeared in the question. I wanted to ask about Patrick Surtain. I led into that by saying every week Devontae Smith is going up against another one of his buddies from Alabama.
Yeah, it really has. You go back to Trayvon Diggs and obviously Patrick Surtain, who the Eagles had a tremendous amount of interest in the draft. And a lot of people thought if he did fall to number 10, the Eagles would seriously consider taking him in the draft. And I think they would have, as well as J.C. Horn, who ultimately went to Carolina. And obviously, Surtain went before the Eagles took Devontae Smith. Would have been interesting. I think they would have taken one of the cornerbacks if they were available. So, two great players, and the Eagles inactives just came out. Haven't heard the Broncos yet. I assume they're out, but I can't check while I'm on the show here. From all indications, though, early this morning, the indication was he was going to try to play because he's banged up as well. And that's the story of this game, how banged up the Broncos are. They have so many injuries all over the place. You have to give Vic Fangio a lot of credit, their head coach, for keeping this team together.
We'll see while we're live here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel with Football 24/7 and NFL insider John McMullen. We'll see if Xander Krause, who's steering the ship, could pull up the inactives for us. Not up on the screen, but perhaps may be able to update us on Surtain. Jerry Jeudy, offensively, another Alabama product. He is going to play today.
Yeah, I mean, the Broncos have really good skill position players. It's not only Jerry Jeudy. In fact, more Cortland Sutton and even Tim Patrick are more of the volume receivers for them. They catch more passes. They're all three of them are really good receivers. Noah Fant, a tremendous tight end, and he's back. He was on the COVID-19 list, so he's ready to go. And it's interesting, we've talked about Krause, we've talked about these quarterbacks having such success throwing the football, their completion percentages, 5 of them over 80% coming into this game against the Eagles. Well, 3 of them, Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, are the AFC West quarterbacks. The only one left is Teddy Bridgewater. And it's interesting because Teddy Bridgewater is probably the most accurate of them all. He comes in with a 70% completion percentage against everybody, never mind the Eagles. So the difference is, though, unlike a Herbert, a Mahomes, certainly, and even Carr to a certain extent, he doesn't have as much confidence pushing the football down the field. So he's a great short-range, intermediate thrower. And you have to wonder if Jonathan Gannon will take that tact and say, okay, well, Teddy Bridgewater's not going to try to press us down the field, so we don't have to worry about that. Maybe we can use a little more press coverage. Maybe we can crowd the line of scrimmage a little bit more. Because if they just sit back and do what they've been doing, Teddy Bridgewater's going to complete 80% of his passes.
I did get an update from Xander. Patrick Surtain is playing in the game today, Eagles and the Broncos. John, I want to ask you about the linebacker change that Jonathan Gannon made, and what are the early results? Are they any? Would there be an indication that the move was a correct move, and that is moving away from Alex Singleton? And of course, Eric Wilson was released. TJ Edwards, Davian Taylor, now your top 2 thoughts on that? What do you know about it? What has been said about it? Is it anything different, or is it much the same? Is it the same?
No, I think certainly from a run support standpoint, I think if you have to look at it as TJ Edwards kind of replacing Eric Wilson and Davion Taylor kind of replacing Alex Singleton. So from a run support standpoint, they're a much, much better team when TJ Edwards is on the field. He is by far the Eagles' best run support linebacker. And then really, if you go all the way back to training camp, the plan was to get Davion Taylor on the field, throw him into the deep end of the pool, as I always say. That's what they wanted to do. He had the calf injury early in camp. Took him a while to get healthy from that. And they've been amping up his playing time since. They want to get his speed, athleticism on the field. But overall, I mean, it doesn't matter who's been out there. Edwards, Wilson, Singleton, Taylor. The Eagles linebackers have not been good. They're one of the main reasons why those completion percentages are happening, because a lot of that short and intermediate stuff falls on the plate of the linebackers in coverage. The one note I would say, though, is TJ Edwards is playing very, very well when it comes to run support and things of that nature. But that was the book on him coming out of Wisconsin when he wasn't drafted, would struggle in pass coverage, and that's kind of borne out to be true.
Johnny Mac, I know you mentioned the inactives. Anything noteworthy on the Eagles inactives?
No, a typical Jack Anderson types takeout, and Gary Vincent, who was just acquired from the Broncos. So no big names. And we knew that the Eagles were pretty, that's one of the big advantages of this game for them from their standpoint. As they went through the week, the injury report got much better for the Eagles, much worse for the Broncos. And one team's banged up and one team's as healthy as you can be in week 10, and that's the Eagles.
Football 24/7 with NFL insider John McMullen. Of course, we'll see John back at halftime for a quick report and a quick analysis of the first half, and then on the live post-game show with Derek Gunn, Mark Farzetta, Devin Caney, and John McMullen live from Mile High Stadium in Denver. We'll see what his report sounds like at the end of the game versus the beginning of the game, and we'll see if that altitude adjustment affects members of the working press. I don't know, John, if you have to go how difficult it is to go from downstairs when you're attending the press conferences to back upstairs into the press box. But be careful, just in case that creates any sort of scenario.
Yeah, it can be very difficult. I'll tell you, Las Vegas was not fun.
Yeah, no, I know we were communicating before you jumped on the live post-game show. Last thought, John McMullen, before I let you get settled in Denver. What is the head coach going to do today? What is his objective for success? I know they want to win the football game, but how can Nick Sirianni influence this game in a way that puts his team in a position to win?
Well, I think, and I say this all the time, I think from a head coach's standpoint, you lose a lot more games than you win in this league. Typically, it's about talent, it's about personnel, it's about players making plays. So what you don't want to do is make the big faux pas. And I think, to Nick Sirianni's credit, and I've talked about this from the rookie head coach standpoint, he has tended to learn from his mistakes. He's tended to adjust. You see the offense again shifting from RPO heavy early in the season to more run the football play action over the past few weeks. And they think they've found a bit of a formula to have at least some kind of success on the offensive side of the football. And it's about the latter part, not the former part. So they're going to try to continue that even though the competition has been amped up from a run support standpoint, they still want to establish that, and they think that makes things easier for Jalen Hurts to get the football down the field. It would be nice to get somebody involved in the passing game outside of Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. Those two players are going to be targeted and going to be a big part of the game plan. Probably need to see something from Quez Watkins and Jalen Rager, or at least one of those two as well.
And in order to do that, we need Jalen Hurts to hit him on the numbers. Good stuff from John McMullen today, checking in from Mile High Stadium across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Johnny Mac, we'll see you at halftime for your quick halftime report, and then look forward to all of the chatter, all of the conversation, and what the game story is as you cover the game for the live post-game show. John McMullen joins Derek Gunn, Mark Farzetta, and Devin Caney. Great stuff, Johnny Mac. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Krause.
All right. Good stuff from John McMullen, all presented here across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel by Stateside Vodka. You still have time to go to statesidevodka.com. Use that keyword JAKIB. Pick up 15% off of the Stateside Vodka Soda. Again, we'll be right back here at halftime with John McMullen, who will check in from Mile High Stadium, give you some quick analysis of what we watch as how the game unfolds in the first two quarters of play. We'll talk about the guts of the game, and then right back here on the live post-game show. That's going to do it for now here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We hope to see you at halftime, and then we hope to see you on the live post-game show on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel on 6abc.com. Got a great show lined up for you. No matter what the outcome of the football game is, you'll get great analysis from Derek Gunn, Mark Farzetta, Devin Caney, and of course, John McMullen. Until next time, on behalf of Xander Krause and of course, John McMullen, I'm Joe Krause. Enjoy the game, everyone.